Hello, ladies and germs. This is McCoy welcoming you back to the EUPHONOS Legacy League. Today, we are going to cover the last week of the regular season and predict semifinals. Ooh, the top four have been decided, and today we are going to go through each game and see how they got there. First off, we have the APOM Hiking Society versus General Lunala. I did say this one would decide who would be the fourth man, the fourth team to go into playoffs, and it looks like the General Lunala has won. Well, let's see each and every match and see how they get there. First off, we have the best of three multi-gen OU game between Memphis Depay and Ineros. And they started off pretty quickly here in Gen 7. It was one of the later games that was played though. First turn, we saw Victini absolutely ass blast Rotom Wash with Final Gambit. Landorus tried to set up with the Swords Dance Rock Polish set. Using it to good use though, as it managed to get +1 off, and despite being toxic, Lando wasn't gonna really do much otherwise other than Flyinium Z OHKOing Ineros' Landorus. Losing the poison though, as it chipped Kartana very hugely with an earthquake. Then Kartana just kind of kept prancing around, and it took some hits. Everyone just kind of traded off kills from then on. There you see the Tapu Fini losing to the Megalopony. However, Diancie just cornered the end game and did the best they could, beating Magearna with that hidden power fire, and then tanking the high jump kick from Megalopony to beat it with Moonblast. Although I had a feeling if Dragonite was to go on last, he would probably live that hit anyway. So already a pretty good start in Gen 7. However, Gen 8, it seemed a little bit more even now, because Memphis Depay carried Stall, and Ineros carried things that actually can break Stall. So first off, Toxapex managed to burn the Ferrothorn, while Buzzwole poisoned the Zapdos right here on turn 31. And then Garchomp and Hippowdon just kind of played toxic hockey. Instead of tonsil hockey, it's toxic hockey with each other, as both tried to switch out, switch in, eventually killing each other with earthquakes and poison, which was funny. Quagsire eventually knocked out the Weavile after it tried to do some mega hits with Triple Axel, surviving most of the hits and then eventually beating it with Seismic Toss. Yeah, Seismic Toss actually seeing use in this with Quagsire, which is one of the first. Then Toxapex eventually killed Volcanion with Knockoff, and Clefable ended up scoring the endgame, picking up the win after beating Zapdos and beating Melmetal. Beating Melmetal after it was put at low in order to win the end game, and a win for Memphis. So well done, and for really extending their streak as one of the best players in the multi-gen OU top half. Next up, we have the multi-gen OU game between Waffle and Shing, which ended in 2. A lot of best of 3 series actually ended up in the fewest series imaginable. We got the 2 games out of a 3-game series, and then 3 games out of a 5-game series in this one. Gen 5, we saw Thundurus first paralyzing the Tyranitar with Thunder. A very lucky one too, as it was in Sandstorm and not Sea. Before getting pursued, while Politoed killed it with a critical hit Scald. There goes your Sandsetter for the rest of the thing, and Rain rules supreme. Hydro Pump Starmie eventually beating Ferrothorn. Actually catching one on the switch in and then ultimately killing it. Starmie also getting the rapid spin away the hazards, which would have been fatal if Shing wasn't careful. Fortunately enough, he was. Then the end game, we saw Latios lose to Alakazam, leaving Waffle with only Alakazam left, which lost to a speed tie, and eventually Shing won the game fairly handily too. He wasn't having much trouble from then on there. Gen 6 was a little interesting. You see this team? It's wacky. You see the other team? It's equally wacky. I never seen this combination of mons. But they work. They're all in fairly notable Gen 6 OU mons, so who am I to complain? Superior first killed the Aerodactyl after it tried taunting to maybe glare it, but fortunately Shing foresaw that and eventually killed it. Managed to glare Cloyster after he shook off the taunt for being glazed by the Icicle Spear. Wrong use of the word glaze there, according to the hipsters. Garchomp failed to kill Zapdos right there, getting paralyzed in the process, but shaking off that paralysis with the Lumberry, also hitting off a potential confusion outbreak, managing to chip it with Hidden Power Ice, allowing it, though, to die after Excadrill was sacked. So, he really could have used that Lumberry. If the Lumberry did not activate while it was static, maybe Garchomp would have had a better time sweeping. But alas, that was not to be the case. Waffle then, Waffle had a really hard time afterwards because paralysis was just aching him up. Mega Gardevoir managed to tank Volcarona's hits, beating it with a Psyshock, while Zapdos managed to paralyze the ever-living frick out of Mega Metagross after tanking its Zen Headbutt very well, and then eventually the static caught to Mega Metagross, allowing to die by Heat Wave later, after the Heatran was sacked. And then it was nice for Shing to preserve the Zapdos by the end because Waffle already had a Azumarill left. It was willing to sack the Crawdont to a crit, but it was going to die anyway. But then an Aqua Jet failed to kill it, and then just did that. Because it knew Zapdos was going to his Volt Switch. So congratulations to the boy Shing. He's been fairly consistent, has suffered a few losses here and there, but, has looked ideally strong against a good player in Waffle. So, good job to both for, Shing waffling this entire tour. I wish these two would be like a tag team in the future. I could see both as a tag team. Why not? Let's get a pairing here, shall we? Next up is another pairing. Maybe THR is a little bit salty about getting paired up with someone someone not on his caliber, as the smug little bastard that he is. THR versus Banded Body Press in Kamove Chaos. So both people had weird teams. Weird teams that work. Megalatias first poisoned Blissey and poisoned Regirock with Mortal Spin. Blacephalon, having none of that, proceeded to Nasty Plot and eventually Oko Reuniquelish with a Ghostium Z attack. So well done there. Regirock, though, continuously healed against Volcanion, which kept up for a fricka-dick long time. Just absolutely, trying to remove the attack boost from Tidy Up. It just strength sap. and heal itself off while it was getting poisoned and, trapped to death by Volcanion. This lasted for 40 turns. Have you guys have nothing better to do than just do that all day long? I don't know. And then Blacephalon then lived a spectral thief, managing to live a spectral thief from Megalotius, and managing to crit kill the Volcanion with Moongeist Beam, later killing the Slow King with Moongeist Beam and Poltergeist combo. Hisui region bringing a physical and a special ghost move to beat Slow King. Listen to that. Deoxys, though, then swept the rest. Just killing, even critting Colossal before BBP eventually forfeited. Ended the same, 82 turns, but Hisui region looked dominant for once, beating BBP. Next up, we have SS Cap. We got Mentality losing to Earth Flag. You can thank the goated prep that Earth Flags managed to scrape by with a win here. First off, we got Argonaut poisoned at first from Mentality side. Very, very unfortunate, as it could have been a very good, bulky little guy. Managing to set up spikes and circle throw a bunch of mons before eventually dying to the poison, even against Dio and Argonaut. Pagantum then beat Equilibra and Clefable right then and there. And while Kartana managing to do the noble thing, the ignoble thing, by knocking off the heavy duty booty off of Zapdos, but getting paralyzed in the process, as Dragapult defeated Kartana and Argonaut before it eventually succumbed to the poison, managing to kill Argonaut with a on green health with a -2 Draco Meteor. So that was a thing. That was a thing that happened. Then it was just a Pajantom eventually doing their little war a bit before Intimidate kind of cost Mentality the game, as had he not gotten that, the damage range would have been enough to beat the Landorus, but unfortunately that lost him the game, just being intimidated and having Pajantom be on last, meaning that it was going to take a thing, but maybe, I could be wrong. Maybe there would be a damage roll either way, so Mentality would be screwed in that regard. But yeah, it was a very evenly paced game by both players, and Earth Flag just so happened to scrape by with a win, like I said. Next up is Usum RU between Seth and Neomon. Unfortunately, Neomon did not show up. Seth ultimately called act, so I would give the award to Seth right there. But that's just there. Yeah, that's just there. Nothing really happened. So there's your first dead game. Next up, we have the Oras UU game between Akiras and the Toy Time King. Both looking with incredibly bulky teams that could go on to last a while. And it kind of did. It kind of did for just a bit. Slow King managing to poison Swampert very early on, mitigating that need for, reliable rocker. Healed, though, by Florges, so Toy Time King had a backup option already in place. Exploud, though, was the king in this game for Toy Time King. It was just a great physical boy. Or, no, a special boy, actually, because it managed to boom burst Doublade, and Akiras did mention that he forgot Scrappy exists on an X-Cloud, so Doublade was a bad switch in. So X-Cloud eventually took hits and became quite a champ, honestly, beating Slowking as well. Mega Aggron, though, was another similarly good little boy, beating down the Heracross, who was already neutered very early on, beating that with Heavy Slam. Surviving this Nidoqueen's Earth Power for chipping that, eventually dying to it. Florges, though, failing to kill the X-Cloud right here, as this Moonblast did not help killing that off. Mega Aerodactyl eventually killed it off with a Stone Edge, and then Akaras was left with both a crippled Nidoqueen and a really, really bad positioned Mega Aerodactyl. So Swampert won that against Mega Aerodactyl, having Wing Attack of all things. But Nidoqueen lost to Crobat at the end. So good on Toy Time King. Again, very strong UU player. The UU pool has been absolutely goated. You've seen a lot of good players and doing a lot of good team choices. And Toy Time King is just one of those goats. So, well done. Next up, we have Society beating Vaporeons. Vaporeons failed. First off, we have Dialga burned by the Arceus' Will-O-Wisp. Then burned Ferrothorn, while hazards on both sides were set up. Toxic and Rocks were both up, leaving Arceus to set up Stealth Rock of his own. It was a bulky Arceus. It was a bulky support Arceus Yost. Dialga lost eventually to Gliscor via the Earthquake. Ferrothorn then set up spikes, stalling Gliscor, though, managing to stall out Kyogre with by A being faster and B, substitute and protect, eventually dying to its Earthquake. Sus's Ferrothorn eventually beat Vapo's Ferrothorn via the burn, basically stalling them out until it died. And then towards the end, we saw Kabutops trying to do its thing, but unfortunately getting earthquaked and costing Society, costing Vape the game, but winning for Society. Society has just been decent in this tier, so well done. The next up, we have Drippy winning their Gen 4 1v1 game against ya boy Burn. First off, we have the game 1, which actually went quite a while. No, this wasn't the game that went on quite a while. This actually ended up quite short. Rotom, first off, defeating Metagross with Thunderbolts. Bad choice for Drippy there, but picking up eventually in the next 3 games with game 2, starting off with the earliest forfeit I think I've ever seen out of this potential thing, seeding Kingdra before he went for the Draco Meteor, and then Burn just quit. I think the plan was to substitute first before going for the Draco Meteor, but it did not come to fruition. So very unfortunate there. Then Drippy just kind of steamrolled through the next 2. First off, this Rock Slide kill by Tyranitar in game 3. Maybe Fire Blast would have been better, but I don't think he had it since he went for Earth Slash. I don't know. But, yeah. And then game 4, we saw the Azelf bloom through the Rotom with a Shadow Ball. Because, it's Electric Ghost Rotom. So that was that first thing. In general, Nala moved on. Now for the things that really don't matter. But yet I noted them anyway because I'm great. So we have the radioactive Sligo project tying with Up Darmani down. In fact, the first off in Gen 8 OU was Ori versus Hex. And they started off with Generation 8, voted by many to be a slow motion kick in the balls. First off, Landorus managing to poison the Slowbro, while Tornadus was chipped thanks to the future side attack from Tornadus. Eventually dying though to Corviknight's Rocky Helmet, so good switch there by Hori to capitalize on a major kill there. Blacephalon then had a Spadef drop against Toxapex, which was more in the favor of our boy Hex here. However, Hex managing to counteract that by OHKOing the hell out of Slowking right there with a massive earthquake, beating that thing. Weavile then had a lucky break by crit killing the Buzzwole right here with Triple Axle, immediately ousting that before OHKOing Dragapult with an Ice Shard. That led to Hex forfeiting and Hori winning the first game. Gen 9 fared a lot better for Hex. Fared a lot better. And rewarding him by playing well here. Moltres lost the heavy duty boots quite early on, which was bad, but managing to burn the Lando in accordance to that. Managing to taunt the Tinglu before it died to poison, disallowing the rocks to happen. So good catch there. Then King Gambit managing to beat the Moltres before getting E-speed by Dragonite. So Hori was, trying to be in the lead of some sorts until Hex just went ham with Terra Normal Dragonite. Even, doing the honors of swords, dragon dancing against the Primarina, which it didn't really matter because it was Terra Normal, so there goes the super effective hits. And, it tried to call the E-speed by Terra Ghosting right there, but Dragonite has more than one move, that other move being Earthquake. And, yeah, Dragonite Roar. Dragonite roared through the rest of the team. Even surviving a Tachyon Cutter from Iron Crown, just E-speeding the thing, and then E-speeding Hawlucha before it died, and then Goldengo managing to Custap Berry, beat Hawlucha with Make It Rain, eventually winning for Hex. So yeah, Hex got rewarded for playing well and bringing good sets. Then we saw Generation 7. Ooh, this was rough. After a double burn from either side of the field and both of them setting rocks, Zapdos managing to pick up the first kill against Landorus with Hidden Power Ice. As you can see, they're howling a Stone Edge before it died to the Zapdos Hidden Power Ice. Magearna then killed the Zapdos with Thunderbolt after it served its purpose, beating the thing quite cleanly. Right around here, managing to beat that while it was low. Well done there. Eventually losing to the Slowbro after taking a Bugaton hit. Was unable to be pressurized any longer and then just died. Burned by the Mega T-Tar. And then eventually Toxapex and Slowbro worked together to beat So the thing, the Mega T-Tar. Excadrill then defeated Toxapex by doing its usual thing, even tanking that Scald in order to beat it with Earthquake, which was nice. And then Mega Charizard X took care of the endgame after Toxapex was eventually put laid to rest. The two Steel types were remaining, and thus out comes Zard with no rocks and just free to go ham on the rest of the field. Bam! Surviving a Sacred Sword, killing them with not Flare Blitz, the Kartana, but Earthquake. But yeah, GG's. Wonderful playing from Hori. Absolutely taking Hex to the limit and eventually winning. That's good. Next up, though, best of 3 multi-gen OU between Class and Moralic. I feel bad for Moralic for this one. I feel really bad for Moralic out of this one. First off, we have Generation 6, where Superior managing to rest off Amungus's attempts at sludge bombing and then getting poisoned. It managed to rest off of those, able to pull itself down and back up into full health, managing to paralyze it though beforehand. Eventually burning that Excadrill very neatly with a Will-O-Wisp. And then Tornadus netted the first kill via the kill to T-Tar. And yes, also that dumb thing. Class got the little tipped like Clefable, missing that confusion there. I mean, it didn't really matter, I think, in the long run. Well, actually, no, it did actually matter in the long run, because that one little mistake kind of just buoyed the rest of the game into Moralic's favor. This was his big first win. With Class trying to come back, beating the Excadrill, and then beating the Megalopony. Beating also the Rotom Wash at this point. But Metagross eventually beat the Clefable, and then tanking this fake out from Megalopony to beat it with Bullet Punch. One for one, I think that I mean, Class said it better than I could ever say it. I can't say I'm surprised to see the 1/8 hit there, but yeah, that for one thing, that fake out, I'm surprised Metagross can tank that, but I'm also surprised Megalopony just died to its Bullet Punch very easily too. So yeah, that was the first hit, and you think, oh, Moralic's gonna probably pull this off. He can beat Class in Gen 5 and 4, and yeah, it'll be good, right? Well, I feel bad because we had the start here with Starmie paralyzing the Jellicent early on in Game 2, Generation 5. As you saw, the Starmie beat the Jellicent with Thunderbolt, eventually dying to Tyranitar's Crunch, Mega Crunch. Breloom, though, counteracted, so small thing for Moralic here, Mach punching the Jirachi very well, beginning to survive its hidden power before the thing died. Managing to also beat the Scizor with Mach Punch. Yeah, could you believe that Breloom is faster than a Scizor? But yeah, it eventually died to poison. But good things. There's some good things that happen. Class, though, prepared, using the Tyranitar to kill the Garchomp with Ice Beam. Scizor, though, counteracted by Swords Dancing and crit-killing Skarmory with Superpower, before Garchomp using Rough Skin to beat Scizor, who chipped it massively with Bullet Punch. And then Tyranitar closed off the endgame by beating Volcarona and Dragonite the first with a crunch, the second with a massive crunch, in order to win this game for class. Very short one, very 18 turns, but there are a lot to say. And then we saw Generation 4. And this is where the thing started to go wrong for Moralic. So, we have thing like a Latias tricking Clefable, who counteracted by paralyzing Rotom on a switch hit, and then killing that thing with a massive knockoff fest, getting to do that fairly well. Also doing Shadow Ball in a normal type. I mean, he was gonna lose it anyway to Chip, but okay. I just find that thing questionable. Latias. Class actually brought a Pippin set. A Pippin set, if I like to call it. Latias bringing an Earthquake. Or class bringing an Earthquake Latias to defeat Infernape with a nasty Earthquake. Psychic wasn't needed. It just needed to be physical to beat the thing. Paralyzing Scizor, though, before Quagsire managing to encore it to only doing Swords Dance, and then eventually beating Tyranitar with its Earthquake. And then Metagross exploded, Skarmory lived, Scizor was left. It tried to Swords Dance, but yeah, I wouldn't risk it because this. He's gonna all kill Scizor from that low. I don't think it'll survive a hit. So yeah, I feel bad for Moralic. The class. Well played, sir. Well played. You memed, and you won. The next game was Velvet. Where did I get Velvet from Velcroc versus Blazing Cloud in Cam of Chaos? And I think Class is a proud father. Class is an extremely proud father because Blazing Cloud used this little Sun team, this Sun Camove team, and it worked well. It worked very well. First off, Conkeldurr managing to hit the Great Tusk with a magical torque, which was an owie. Even though it was prototype defense, that Flame Orb really put the pressure off of Great Tusk and managed to heal itself off with a Synthesis. Mega Latias responded to that little thing by critting Hatren with Thunder Cage before killing said Hatren with the same Thunder Cage. Marowak Alola missed a head smash on Torkoal, while Reuniclus missed a Light of Ruin right here on a Dark Ghost Blissey for getting Parting Shotted, which were two pretty bad things. I mean, yes, Marowak was going up against Torkoal, who was a physical beast, and Reuniclus was going up against Blissey, who was a special beast. But still, those misses hurt Velcroc's momentum in the long run. Roaring Moon, able to Bolt Strike the living crap out of Slowking and beat it. Rotom then, Roaring Moon then critted the Stakataka, who used the Ghostium Z to beat the Mega Latias. Actually managing to live that fairly well too, which was nice. But the Great Tusk had other plans. First, switching into a Poltergeisting Stakataka, who failed the attack, before stealing the boosts off of the Stakataka to lend itself into a great position right here for getting ass clapped by the Conkeldurr. And then it was all left to Leafeon, who managed to use the setup from Torkoal to beat the Marowak with a close combat. And then bam! Out goes the Rheuniclus with the Gigaton Hammer. And Blazing won! Didn't get to post himself. Class did it for them. Like I said, like a true poppy. And he did. Next up was a little SS Cap game between Ex-Guardian and Gerald, where Tornadus managing to net the first kill on Equilibra, beating this with a knock off after it tried rapid spinning, while Cheryl's own Equilibra managing to OHKO Kartana with a nice little earth power. Watch that switch in and watch it burn. Burn, baby, burn. Just absolutely surviving as well the Sacred Sword off of Kartana in order to kill it with a nasty earth power, which was nice. Berserker was crit OHKO'd by Tapu Lele, and that spelled the first disaster for Cheryl, as Zapdos managed to follow up by beating Equilibra and Tapu Lele finishing off a poison Tapu Koko, who was struggling against the Toxics, mind you, and Cheryl ultimately forfeited. I'm sorry, Berserker. Berserker did not deserve to get OHKO critted like that. It just didn't feel right. Next up was the semi-mirror match of LBN versus Gulch. Well, I say semi rather than both Virizions and Drapions and Swallows were both brought to the field, but you know, the things you can do. Registeel managing to poison Seismitoad, while Fortress poisoned the Delmise. It was a big little poison fest. And then Drapion managing to up the ante the poison even more by poison jabbing the Delmise. So it was a lot of poisoning things happening. Golisopod then crit killed the Seismitoad with a nasty leech life. Was that a boosted thing? Well, it did look pretty good. Look at its sets. It's pretty good. Virizion, though, managing to beat the Registeel. Despite getting toxic, it managed to beat it with all-out pummeling through Protect. So, well done to tank that before eventually losing to Swallow. And then Swallow, after Drapion killed its Swallow managing to sweep the rest. Virizion was first, and then Drapion was next. And then Golisopod finished off. And LBN took the win. LBN proving to be one of the dark favorites to be a contender for Usum RU Player of the Season. So well done. Well done to LBN. Next up was one of the highlight matches, as I mentioned, of the season, which was Lara versus Bambadoro in Gen 6 RU, which, you know, both players actually looked really good. I mean, both brought some unique teams, and yet both managing to deliver quite the memorable game, honestly. First off was Suicune poisoning the Seismitoad, fairly consistently there, and then things did not kick into high gear until turn 26, where Mega Aggron catching that Swords Dancing Heracross did not capitalize on being the type advantage bug that it is, beating that with Heavy Slam. Mega Abomasnow then crit killed the Blissey via the nasty little thing. This Wood Hammer absolutely ass blasting Blissey. And then Florges killed Empoleon. While Gardevoir tried to Healing Wish to heal off Mega Abomasnow, who was doing great. Managing to kill actually the Aggron by Earthquake by Swords Dancing itself. I really like this Mega Aggron. It's a physical a bomb of snow, and yet it did good wonders, even managing to chip the ever-living frick out of Crocodile. Seismitoad died to poison in the endgame, and Crobat was burned by Suicune before being killed. Yeah, the burns hit, and the burns hit, and the burns hit, and then bam! This Crobat couldn't take it anymore, and then lost to Bambadoro Suicune. Bambadoro took the win. Very well. Very well played by Bambadoro. Next up was Kaizen versus Bread Sandwich in Black and White Ubers. Short and sweet one, this. Bread's managing to paralyze Ho-Oh, critting the Giratina, crit-okoing it actually with Brave Bird, managing to dodge Latios's Draco Meter. Yeah, and you might think, yeah, it's set up reflect. Xatu actually set up. Oh, setting up the wrong screens proved the dodging wonders for Bread, which Groudon managing to kill Fortress later with a good Fire Punch. Right there. Arceus then defeated Arceus Steel with extreme speed, managing to Oko Latios, while Groudon killed the Ho-Oh nicely with another Fire Punch. The Bread choked because, yeah, he let his mons get too low, and Blaziken and Xatu were the only ones left, and they could not tank a deadly water spout. Maybe Bread tried to go for a double protect here, but he wasn't feeling to risk it, and so Blaziken just died outright. I wish he had gone for the double protect. Maybe things would have been better work there. But yeah, he had no options left. The end game was just kind of choked at the end, and that allowed Kaizen to clutch the win with Ogre. The next up, we have Stravench actually winning again versus RTM. So yay, well done, Stravench. You're finally doing good this late into this late into the game. You actually won this one with 3 pretty long DPP 1v1 games. These DPP 1 games ends usually at the first turn, but you two made it somehow last longer, and yet you won in 3, which lol. First off, we have the G1, where we saw both psychic types here, Cresselia and Gardevoir, managing to set up Calm Mind against each other until Cresselia managing to crit kill this blasted Gardevoir with a nice psychic attack. Game 2, we saw the game 2, where we saw Kingdra try to use the Swift Swim substrat that Burn failed to do in his matchup. But, yeah, it managed to actually beat the Rotom with a nasty Draco Meteor. Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good usage there by Stravench. And then game 3 happened, where we saw Armaldo and Gardevoir tricking each other to include their own choice items, and Gardevoir somehow getting Custap Berry, because that Custap Berry wins everything. But Armado showed that, just attack and you win. And so he did just that with a good X-Scissor. I wish I knew this in advance, but True Psycho was actually 1 HP bar on Showdown this whole time. And I wish I knew. I wish I knew that had happened, but eh, it came as a sudden realization, okay? And the way they talked, it did make sense. Because look at the team they used. It's kind of whack, if I'm being honest. Gen 7, we saw the Whimsicott try to use Memento early on. Why? I mean, he wasn't planning on switching into Cortana, so why sack the thing early on? Oh, and you're thinking, oh, it was trying to go for a thing. He tried to go for a thing here. And he did. He did try to go for a unique set. Z Sleep Talk against Tapu Koko. Okay. Losing that to Thunderbolt because Tapu Koko beats the Halucha. Was that Unburdened? I wish you knew. It was Unburdened, right? Why did Tapu Koko outspeed? Weirdo. Landorus then beat Drapion very handily too, actually. He tried to go for evasion fast, but he did not. And then Miyoko did not explode with the Landorus, managing to lose the Darmanitan there. Volt switching to beat the Darmanitan. And then Kyurem just used Outrage to beat Heracross. Bro loaded real team. I wish they loaded real teams. Gen 8 was a real team, right? Right? Not really. I mean, first off, we had Tapu Lele beating the Ferrothorn with his Spadef drop with Focus Blast. And then Trick Blissey with Scarf with Espeon. Eventually losing to the Beware by Heatran's Magma Storm. That was nice. That was crazy. Tapu Lele then beat Blissey. Well, it tried. Well, it tried to do the Espeon thing by using Zap Cannon. He memed slightly. But yeah. Tapu Lele beat the Blissey with the Psyshock. Heatran missing the Magma Storm, who missed Zap Cannons to paralyze it, as you saw. And then the real star of the show was Poltergeist. I'll discipline after this game to throw G3, says TTT Tech. But, well, Poltergeist just kind of swept the rest. Even crit killing Clefable. Oh well. He's unaware bulky though. He says, had better chance living. This is rigged for me. Yeah, that was an unfortunate crit kill from Clefable. But Miyoko just proved better. Sorry, True Psycho. Sorry. Next up we have Dunox versus Jack Guzzler, which Dunox won in 2. Where we saw the Gen first game, we saw Gen 5, where we saw the Keldeo, the Hydro Pump Keldeo, beating the Latios under Ignoble Sun and Ignoble Hydro Pumps. Wabam. Even if it tried to go for a Thunder Wave to paralyze it. Yeah. Dunox, though, was unfazed, counteracting it by beating the Ferrothorn and using Bronzong to beat Thundurus. This was a funny turn because Bronzong lived off multiple hidden power whatevers with Thundurus. Even living this Thunder to beat it with Gyro Ball. Then Clefable paralyzed Starmie, leaving to Skarmory, beating it with Drill Peck. Okay. Then Jirachi healing wishing to heal off Keldeo, who kind of just swept the majority until Clefable beat the Politoed with the paralysis and seismic tosses. Keldeo was left, had a choice. It really had a choice to go either Hydro Pump or Sacred Sword, and it chose the worst option, IMO. Secret Sword managing to kill off the Clefable very nicely there, but I wish he just risked it. I really wish he just risked it with Hydro Pump, because then Hippowdon wouldn't have lived, instead of continuously living with these nasty slack-offs, healing itself, and just beating the ever-living piss out of this donkey. So, yeah. A thing decided by a 50-50 choice. And fortunately, Jack chose wrong. And then we saw Gen 4. Zapdos managing to paralyze the Aerodactyl, managing to kill it with Thunderbolt. Gengar, though, counteracted by taunting the Hippowdon to prevent the rocks. And then Tyranitar, who tried its hardest to beat the Hippowdon, just couldn't, losing to its Earthquake, even getting a defense drop while doing so, but unfortunately, the Hippowdon manages to be that bulky to kill it. Start to go for an Earthquake, gets a Gengar. I think Dunox slightly forgot that this isn't the Cursed Body Gengar that we're so used to seeing, that it's normal-ass Levitate Gengar. Gyarados, though, counteracted by flinching the frick out of Clefable before exploding as it healed to kill it. Then Skarmory managing to stall Gyarados to die to not poison, the friggin' sandstorm. Metagross, though, exploded, trying to kill Skarmory that way, but unfortunately Skarmory was just too much physical bird tank to beat it. Brave Bird eventually killing it, but killed Dragonite in the process, with the Life Orb eventually dying. And yeah, Dunox won fairly, but Jack did have a couple of questionable choices that he could have maybe taken this to a game 3. Then we had possibly Advata's revenge from TPP. Him beating the L-Taker here. It wasn't the best win, I will say. It wasn't the best win that Advata brought. Mega DNC failed to kill Grimmsnarl, who set up screens for Regigigas, who set up a Sword Stance and the Aqua Step. But Cresselia just kept using Thunder Cage, and eventually killed it. Eventually, though, killed it with a nice Thunder Cage there, trapping the thing before eventually dying. Cleavor tried setting up, missing, though, a crucial Bolt Strike on turn 18, eventually losing to the thing. Well, eventually, letting Colossal live, actually, via chance. And then also missing the Mountain Gale the next turn. That's even more unfortunate, as it died to a Moonblast. A crit killed Moonblast at that, adding more insult to injury. And Fairy Ground Naganadel just swept, poor thing, beating Naganadel, beating Sharpedo, beating the Iron Moth. Yeah, it was just a bad night for L-Taker. The L-Taker just generally had a bad season, I think. even losing to the unluckiest of ways by Advata. Upset of the year? Yeah, that actually made me upset. Next up, we have Dex versus Ming. This wasn't also that long. It was actually fairly quick. Dex brought some hyper offense, while Ming also would like to get it over with some hyper offense strats of their own. Ming failed first and foremost to do the belly drum Commodore strat because tornadoes deal a lot of damage, disallowing poor Commodore to not go for the belly drum sweep. Losing to Tornadoes shortly after, and then losing to Garchomp, eventually beating the Espeon before succumbing to Cloyster's Icicle Spears. Then Krilliwatt, managing to defeat Cloyster and Tapu Lele, despite getting this attack drop. But Shell Smash Poltegeist started sweeping until Rillaboom managing to do the ignoble thing and beat Tapu Poltegeist. Yeah, Tapu Poltegeist. Eventually beating the Omastar, who tried using Ice Beam. Fortunately, is up against a thing, the Rillaboom, the monkey, who won. Won very convincingly. Dex won. Next up, Fiend versus Clem in the battle to see which of these two goat-ass RU players can make the other person leave Showdown altogether. So, first off, we have Fiend, who lost his Mega Glalie to a Crit Scald early on. Bad form there. But Slowbro counteracted, though, with the neat little reverso by beating the Crabominable with a Slowbro. A side-shocking Slowbro at that. Virizion then took advantage of a Dark Pulsing Mega Blastoise to beat it with the Leaf Blade. Slowbro managing to kill Flygon, as it was very obvious that Clem was going to sack the Flygon because it was aerial lacing all the way. I know it was trying to catch Virizion, but it just wasn't meant to be. Slowbro then lost to Noivern, then defeated Zatsu with a Catch-as-Catch-Can Draco Meteor, even getting the Spidap drop. That's the second instance of a Dragon type just absolutely ass blasting a poor thing that it was already crippled to begin with. Flygon then beat Registeel, won the game for Fiend. Lamina versus Diani Ratson never happened. It looks like someone called Act. And then the other one was Shitrock Enjoyer beating the ever-living frick out of Madeline Morningstar. So let's go through the game each other, because I actually did not make notes for this one or have never seen it. So as we can see, the Kyogre managing to thunder the ever-living frick out of Lugia. And then we saw the Toxic there from the Ferrothorn, managing to set up rocks. The hazards were very strongly against Shitrock Enjoyer for a little bit. Missing the Draco Meteor, though, on turn 13 was unfortunate. And we see in multiple Hydro Pumps as it died to the thing, and then Rayquaza managing to kill it. Why would you go V-Create on a Kyogre? Are you actually trying to sack your Rayquaza there, boy? Allowing this thing to rest was bad. Thunder, though, on Arceus Ghost was nice, before Kabutops eventually killed it with a Stone Edge. Very well done there But there's too many hazards on this field, and yet he still won. Let's see how he won. There's the Palkia. And I guess Palkia kind of saved Shirak Enjoyer against Madeline here because of Palkia's natural bulk and its natural ability to tank well hits. It just beat it, and ultimately it made sense. Okay, so good win for Shirak Enjoyer in that game. So last but not least is the last game in the series between Noxel and Ami in DPP 1v1. First up, we have game 1, where we saw Metagross, despite trying to Meteor Mash Armaldo lots of times, Armaldo managing to sword stance and scare Metagross for a little bit by dodging a Meteor Mash and getting to kill it. Meteor Mash eventually, though, killed the Armaldo, which was very nice. And then we saw game 2 with Ami winning because Scizor managed to beat Hitmontop's substitute Custap Berry strat because it just kept bullet punching. It tried to Endeavor and use Mach Punch, but Scizor, unfortunately for Ami, managing to bullet punch. Then, third game, we saw the Kingdra managing to beat the Suicune stall with good outrage. Even counteracting a disable attempt by the Kingdra. I wonder why I tried to do that when it whatever. It was kind of a long thing because Suicune stall is annoying as sin. But yeah. Substitute. I wish Nuxel had the foresight to just keep substituting because Suicune is just that good at tanking even against the Kingdra. And then game 4 we saw Custap Berry Wars as the Thunderbolt of Zapdos meets the shiny bug head of Heracross. Megahorn. Okay, I wish it was Earthquake. It's not gonna be close combat, I don't think. Megahorn's not equally good either. But yeah, that was game 4. Nuxel ultimately won. And then game 5, we saw the Oko crit from the thing. Ami losing to Zapdos' crit Thunderbolt. So Nuxel wins. And that's the end of the recap season. So taking a look at the sheets here, it's been pretty much decided that Urban Doubles, the Radioactive Sliggoo Project, and Snivy of Spades, as I mentioned last week, they're safe. And the one deciding the number 4 slot in the playoffs is, of course, General Lunala, who won against Updarmani Down and clinching their ticket in order to win their spot. Actually, no, Updarmani Down lost, or at least tied. Yeah, they tied. Well, they beat Apom Hiking Society to make sure that they're locked for playoffs, and the Apom Hiking Society can sit down in dead last. So unfortunate there. So let's get to predicting the semifinal matchup, shall we? First off, we have Urban Dubwool versus General Lunala. Can the top seed beat the bottom seed, or will the underdogs come away and make sure that they win over the heavy favorites? So first off, we have the best of 3 multi-gen OU between Miyoko and Memphis Depay. Both players looking exceptionally good after the regular season. These are the 2 strongest players in this tier after all, with both having a 4-1 record to their name. Last time they met in week 1, we saw Memphis defeat Miyoko, earning Miyoko's only loss in this tier, while Memphis Depay continued to dominate this thing until week 4 against Hex. So this one should be fun. I am looking forward to this. This is a series that I expect to go into 3 games, and I fully expect that Miyoko might take and bounce back against Memphis Depay. Even though I do think Memphis Depay is strong as a player, I think Miyoko has proven enough of to me at least that they have bounced off from their week 1 loss and is able to beat them in the rematch. But we'll see. Maybe Miyoko does have a ceiling in the form of Memphis. So this really decides. This could decide the remainder of the team's success here. Who looks stronger going into the late stages or the late days of the week as the semifinals progress. So I'm picking Miyoko to win, but will not be surprised if Memphis Depay wins. Next up, we have the other multi-gen OU clash between Jack Cuzler and Waffle. Jack Cuzler, another heavy favorite, another GOAT in this tier, netting himself a 4-1 record, proving to be one of the top players in their team, but also in this pool. Waffle has not had that level of success. Yes, he has earned some wins. Week 3 and 4 come to mind. But the rest, he's kind of struggling in this tier. And I think from their past week 1 outing, I think Jack may win again. Waffle is decent in this tier, but week 1 they've already lost to Jack, and I don't think Waffle. It's gonna be the same story again, is what I'm saying. Jack is going to win here against Waffle. Next up is the SV Chem of Chaos, the Hisui region versus the Dragon Master. The Hisui region, one of the top players in their own team. I mean, this is the captain of said team, so they have to be good, right? Well, Hisui region has proven that they are the best at the Chem of Chaos, netting themselves a 4-1 record. Well, to the Dragon Master, 2-3. One against Banded Body Press and one's against Del Taker. Not very good wins, IMO. So I fully expect the Hisui region to win. There is absolutely no chance. I mean, judging from their past outing, Hisui region beat the Dragon Master already, and I think it'll happen again. I don't think it's gonna be a bounce back for Dragon Master. I think Hisui is going to trounce on him. Next up is SS Cap. We got Mentality versus Ming. Ming's doing pretty well for himself in SS Cap, going 3-2 and absolutely performing at the level I expect him in, which is good. Whilst Mentality, yes, they lost to me in DPP, but that was in DPP 1v1. Ever since they took the mantle of Cap, they've done pretty well for themselves. I mean, they won against week 4, but they lost in week 5. But, I think Mentality has proven that Cap is the better tier, other than DPP 1v1. So that's a good switch up there. But even though with this good switch up, I don't think it's enough. I think Ming has looked generally stronger in this tier. So let's go for the obvious favorite is obvious. Next up, we have Usum RU. We got Fiend and we got Seth. Seth has not had a really good league so far. He's 1-4, which is bad for one of the higher priced players in General Lunala. Going 1-4 is not good on his resume. Meanwhile, Fiend, who is the complete inverse, going 4-1, one of the 3-4-1 players, the other one being Miyoko and Jack. Fiend's doing really well. Fiend's just doing really well for himself. And I think, sorry Seth, but I think the heavy favorite is going to favor Fiend once again as they beat Seth. I mean, they did it last week, so I expect the same result this week. Next up, we have Aura CUU, Deanne Ratson versus TTK, the rematch. Toy Time King has looked great in General Lunala, being one of their top players, 4-1, very, very good. Well, it's Deanne Ratson, Well, their match against TTK in week 1 should show you how much faith I have in Deanny Rats. And sorry, Deanny, I don't think you could be capable. It just Gen 6 UU isn't really your best tier IMO, and I think TTK will win. They're good in this tier, and it's unfortunate, but I think TTK's got this one, guys. One of the best players in this pool. Next up, we have Black and White Ubers. We got Shitrock and Joyer versus Society. Society's done pretty well for themselves, I would say. 2-3. I mean, well, as you would expect, but they have played all 5 weeks. And, most importantly, in week 1, they beat Shitrock and Joyer. Even though Shitrock and Joyer himself has achieved some success. They did win over Madeline Morningstar, but they have lost the first 2 weeks, including against Society. So it really tells you tells you all you need to know. So I would think Society. I think Society's got this. I think Society is the better player of the 2. So we'll see what happens. And then next up, it's DPP 1v1 best of 5. We have Real Account of Me versus Burn. Real Account of Me. Probably the underrated GOAT, because he's 3-1 right now. And their matches have all been good to great. They lost last week to Nuxel, whereas Burn hasn't had the strongest success in DPP 1v1. Only managing a win over week 3 with RTM, but everything else just kind of had a hard time. And I think the same story is going to be around here. I think I'm going to me. Yeah, I'm basic, but if the heavy favorite counts, they count. It's really the only matchup I'm really undecided on is Miyoko versus Memphis Depay, but everything else, it's pretty clear cut who is the favorites here from then on. So yeah, I think Urban Double has a good chance of winning, but if General Lunala can buck the trend and maybe some players like Seth and like Mentality and even Waffle carry their wins, as well as Isuri Region, TTK, and Society, and even Burn, this one is they can absolutely pull it off. Just really hard how this thing will go. The next one, the other matchup, which I'm actually quite more excited than top 1 versus top 4. It's the Radioactive Slagoo Project versus the Snivy of Spades. First off, we have the best of 3 multi-gen OU between Hori and Wesley. Hori's done well. Hori's done done very well in OU 789, losing only to Memphis Depay and Miyoko, but winning everything else. Then, most notably, in week 1, they did beat Wesley, who really has not gained a single win ever since coming to this tier. So this one's gonna be tough for Wesley. And yeah, the heavy favorite is the heavy favorite, so I'm going Hori. Can't see Wesley winning this one. And even in Wesley's best day, I don't think it can match up to the level of play that Hori has gotten. Next up is Blazing versus Dunox in the other multi-gen OU. Blazing has not had the best luck in ELL so far, or HELL if you want to be funny. 1-4. Their only real win was against Velcroc, and it was an SVK move. Dunox, though, fared much better in this entire tier. He is one of their best players, netting a 4-1 record, and only losing to Xing in week 4, but that's besides the point. Everything else, though, he did very well, and I think this is going to be quite the curb stomp. I'll be surprised if this game goes to 3, but I'm thinking Dunox just takes this in 2. Yeah, I am that confident that Dunox is gonna win here. Next up is quite the interesting matchup, shall we say? The Cam of Chaos game between Class and Haha Gamer. So Class has actually been doing pretty well for himself, I'd say, as of course is tradition with these player managers. They have to do pretty well, otherwise, what's the team falters. Class 4-1 in OU 456. Did generally well for himself. For Cam move, and then I mean that is his best tier. So it makes sense that Class would play. And Haha Gamer, I feel so bad for this man. He has all the tools to be good, but unfortunately, just eating loss after loss just didn't help him in the long run. So I feel really bad for him. So this is going to be quite the interesting matchup. But I am predicting an upset here, and I am going for Haha Gamer. I just see it happening. If this is, I mean, it's when it counts, right? Like, you've been losing all the regular season stuff, but I think this will be the major upset. I think L Taker is gonna beat Class. No, no questions. I don't know. That's just my gut feeling. So yeah, betting man instincts. I'm going L Taker over Class. Next up is SS Cap. We got Dex versus Concept Everything. This should be fun. Both players are equally at the skill level that they are. Concept being 2-2. But Dex is 4-1. And the last time they met was week 1, where Dex beat Concept. So I think Dex is going to win. Or this is the other matchup that I was like, it could really go decide either way. But I think Dex wins here. So I feel more confident in predicting for Dex than I am for Concept. So this should be fun. Next up we have LBN versus Clem in Usum RU. Both of these are very strong RU players, I must say. LBN especially, as someone I wasn't really pegged on as being a favorite, he proved himself to be quite the heavy favorite going into this. And to match up with Clem, who's also 4-1, that's gonna be a big test. And actually, week 1 is when they last met, and Clem beat LBN. So I'm curious to see how much LBN, now that he has gained all this experience now, can he match up to the man that he lost to before, Clem. It's gonna be fun, and I think I'm rooting for the underdogs here. I'm going LBN to win. I think LBN's got this. I think they look stronger in their matches than Clem did, but week 1, it was that fatal mistake that LBN made. So, this is going to be fun. I'm quite excited. To see how this goes. Next up would be Horace UU, Lara versus Lamina. Curious to see why they put Lamina in Horace UU. Well, the other guys that played Horace UU in this tier are True Psycho and Ray, and both of them kind of did not perform very well, and they have one missing player, Pengu, who hasn't played at all. So Lamina is tasked to defeating quite the GOAT, Lyra. Lyra's been doing pretty well for themselves in ORSUU. Pegged as one of the stronger players. I mean, they do have a 3-1 record, but that doesn't deter from the fact that Lyra is one of ORSUU's standouts. And I think they'll win. Next up is Madeline Morningstar versus Bread Sandwich in Black and White Ubers. I can't wait for it. I can't wait to see this one. Madeline Morningstar is a surprise to pretty much a lot. You never think someone and with a long name would do so well. And then you look at Bread Sandwich, and that just invalidates my point altogether. But point is, Madeline Morningstar is good. I mean, they do have a 2-2 record right now, but they are good. They're good. Bread Sandwich, though, is great. Bread Sandwich has been one of the best RU Black and White Ubers players. So I am very confident in saying that I think Bread Sandwich wins. But we could see a surprise here in Madeline winning. We could really see a surprise here. Next up, and last up, we have the DPP 1v1 game between RTM and Nuxel. This one's not going to be close. I mean, no disrespect, though, to RTM. RTM has been having some pretty hard matchups of his own. But, man. Oh, he's winless. Yeah, he has. Yeah, I don't disrespect RTM, because RTM's had some pretty hard matchups. But Nuxel is one of the goats. I mean, he's undefeated, I think. Yeah, he's undefeated. He dead gamed against Dreepy, but won against everyone else. So I think Nuxel's gonna take this one, unless a major upset happens. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this matchup more than the 1 versus 4, because 1 versus 4, you at least, 7 out of 8 players are, you could argue the fact that they have the very, very obvious winner. But this one, this 2 second seed versus 3rd seed, this one's a lot more closer. This one is a lot more closer, and I could see this going either way. So it really just depends on how the week progresses and how these players are going to act in this type of pressure to make it to the grand finals. And that is where we end the video. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe. Click the notification bell so you won't miss a video once it comes out. And I can't wait to see the finals. I really cannot wait to see the finals and how everything shapes up. So, until then, this has been McCoy, signing out.